I started as just a junior designer in a company in Chennai, and all the journey to being a director of for a company today, which sells international clothing internationally to around 30 plus countries we ship our clothing to. So what did I do right? When I think about this, it all boils down to just one thing. The reason behind all the success is just one thing. Throughout my career, I have created garments that sold really well. That's it. That's it. And that's all there is. Just creating garments that sell well under any market conditions. That's what I did throughout my 18 years of my career. And that's what we are going to talk about today. Let me share the screen. 1 second. Right, a window. Share. Can you guys see the presentation? Hello, guys. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, it's there.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great.
Yes, sir.
So when I carefully look at all the processes, okay, that are involved in creating a bestseller, it all boils down to 5 key things. You get these 5 key things right, and then you're on the way to creating a best-selling garment. And when your garments sell well, season after season, naturally your brand becomes successful. Whomever you're working for, the retailer or an exporter, they become successful, and then you get successful in your career. So what are these 5 things that make a best-selling garment? First thing, we'll go through the 5 points initially, and then we will go through in detail on each one of them. The first thing is understanding the brand and its clientele. This is the most important thing. This is the starting point. Whichever brand or whichever company, whoever you're working for, the first most important thing is understanding the brand, who the brand is catering to, and what is the who are the kind of clientele who will be interested in buying this kind of a produce. That's the most important thing. So researching, and that's the first thing. And after that, once you know the brand and its clientele, the next most important thing is researching and forecasting the relevant trends for that brand. There, if you see the market, there could be a million trends in the market, but what is most important is trying to find out the trends that are relevant to that brand. And you can have trends and inspiration coming from anywhere in the world, from furniture market, from architecture, and anywhere. But you should kind of narrow it down and see what trends work for this brand and what works for this season and things like that. The third most important thing is planning your range, planning your collection and subdividing your collection. You cannot just take an inspiration out of thin air and then make a whole collection and expect that it would sell. You need an intensive planning. You need to look at what sells well in the market today and what I have been doing over the last few seasons, or what this brand has been doing for the last few seasons. And then you need to break that down into like how many styles I want to repeat from the previous season and all that, which we will again discuss in detail on the next slide. After that, once you planned your range, then comes the most important part, which is designing every piece from the sales perspective. Again, like I've told you before, you could design something out of thin air and you could expect that it would sell, but it doesn't work that way. Just because you like the garment, that doesn't mean everyone else has to like the garment. When you're designing something, only thing that should come into your mind is, how is the person who's going to buy this garment going to look at this garment? You need to see the garment from their eyes. And there is a technology of breaking it down, which I will again go through in detail on the next slides. And then final and the most important thing is presentation and the customer experience. When some customer visits your store, what is the kind of experience they have, and how well are you presenting the garment to them? That's very important. And when you create a good combination of these 5 points, and if you do your research properly, then you could have garments that could sell really well. Let me quickly 1 second. Mm-hmm. 1 second, sorry. Yeah. Then comes the first point, the most important thing, understanding the brand and the clientele. So there is a technology to find out. There is a research to find out what is the brand and whom you're designing for, and who are the clientele who would be interested to buy that brand. Without knowing this, there is no way going forward. So how do we find what interests people? So first thing, what is the age group of clientele who would be interested in that brand? From the other perspective, what is the age group that the brand is trying to cater to? Once you understand the age group, that's the first thing sorted. Then you need to understand what is the occasion to which the brand's clothing are being designed for. Is it for an office wear, or is it for an evening in the beach, or is it for party, or is it for a nightclub, or for a swimwear, or what is the occasion to which the garments this particular brand is catering to? And the third thing is the image. What is the image that you want to project? Do you want to project a very sophisticated look, or do you want to project an image which is very soft and uh, something that's uh, acceptable to a wider range of audience? Or do you want to create a shock factor in your clothing? Or what is the image that you want to project? You don't want to dress a rock star in the same way you dress a person who's going to office. The brands work completely different. So you need to understand what is the image that you want to project through your brand, and what is the image that the client you're looking for is trying to achieve through your brand. And the fourth thing is the lifestyle is a very important thing, because though it changes slowly. A lifestyle is something that doesn't change year on year. It changes slowly, but then it plays a very key role. For example, 15 years ago, people, if when I was working in India, the clientele looked people were not investing so much into going out on for campings or trekkings and things like that. So at that time, the perspective, say 20 years back, probably the perspective was earn the money, save, spend less. That's the kind of attitude the average Indian was having. But today, if you see, the market is completely different. The lifestyle of people has changed a lot. And for that matter, actually, if you again come back to the topic of COVID, the lifestyle of people has changed drastically in the last 2 years. People want to spend, because we do clothing across menswear, across different categories. We used to sell a lot of chino pants before, and suddenly the sales of chino pants have come down drastically because people are not going to offices. People want to spend more on tops and other like t-shirts and other things, but they don't want to spend so much uh, on chino pants and other items. And people are buying more shorts and all that, because again they are spending more time at home. So lifestyle plays a very important role. And for your brand to be successful, or you need to understand what is the lifestyle of the people that you are catering to, and this lifestyle keeps changing year on year, or over the few years, and then you need to understand and then cater to that particular lifestyle. And finally, and most important thing, is the price range. So what is the price range uh, that your client can afford to pay? See, when someone walks into a store, they already have a fixed price in their mind. When someone's walking into, say, a Jean Paul Gaultier store, they know even a small T-shirt would cost them probably 60,000 rupees or 70,000 rupees. They are not going to walk into that store thinking that they're going to buy a T-shirt for, say, 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees. The same way, when someone walks into a store like H&M or Zara or something, they would probably want to buy something for like 25 pounds or 30 pounds, or 2,500 rupees or something like that. They wouldn't go to a Zara store thinking that they're going to buy something for 150 rupees or 300 rupees or 500 rupees. So this, we need to understand what is the price range that the brand fits into. And because when people walk into the store, you don't want to give them a shock factor. You want to go with their expectation. So the first key element in creating a bestseller is understanding what is the brand about, and who are the client that you're going to cater to. Once you understand this, then we move on to the next stage, which is researching and forecasting the relevant trends. Again, I would like to stress on the point, relevant. Being relevant is the most important thing. There are millions of trends in the market. There are different things that are floating around, but being relevant to that particular brand that you're designing for, and to that particular clientele whom you're catering to, is very, very important. So when we talk about trends, where do we generally look for trends? The most common place to look for trends is fashion weeks, and the most popular places to look for are fashion weeks, because you get a lot of inspiration from fashion weeks. And how it works is, what you see in a couture fashion week, probably a season down, those trends slowly boil down to the ready-to-wear fashion weeks, and then a season down they come to the retail stores, and a season down they come to stores like mass market stores like Primark and all that, and then the trend eventually dies. So it is very important to catch the trend at the most peak point when it comes onto the catwalks and fashion weeks and all that. And if you can pick a trend right there, it would give you a lot of advantage of time. Time is of key essence when it comes to fashion, because you could make a great style and the trend could be completely off trend if you haven't timed your collection right. So uh, looking at fashion weeks regularly, every season, and then looking at ready-to-wear collections and all that, and trying to draw a common point. What's the common thing that Dolce & Gabbana did, and what's the common thing that Armani did or Versace did, and trying to draw that one common line helps you create your trends in the most right way. The next most important thing, which never used to be so much more important before and has become more important now, are influencers and celebrities. Before, we used to have celebrities, we used to watch celebrities on movies or news or something like that. But celebrities and influencers have become very important in market today because of the social media. You have YouTube stars, you have Instagram stars. There are people who have millions of followers, and there are influencers who are actually paid to promote brands, who are paid to promote some kind of a trend or something like that, or some kind of a styling or something like that. When a particular brand wants to push that kind of a look into the market, they pay the influencers. So following the influencers who are influencing the market and following what is the trend, what is the style that they're trying to push forward is very important, or probably what the influencers are wearing is very important. So this is not something that you would easily find in a trend book or in like a set format, but this is something, a trend research is not something that you just do in the beginning of the season, but it is a constant ongoing thing that you need to spend your time on looking at regularly. You spend some time every day, and then you spend like half an hour or something every day, just look at the trends so that you keep yourself updated with the trends. The third thing is the most common one, which is the trend forecasting websites, the fashion blogs, and the print media, which is the fashion magazines and all that. You need to go through these things regularly, and to be in par with what your other people are doing, what your other brands are doing, because everybody's going to look at the trend forecasting websites. This is the common place, this is the common ground where everyone looks for trends. So you cannot be completely disconnected to everyone else. So to be in connection with them, you need to follow these things. And then the fourth one is lifestyle, innovation, news, music, and films. These play a very very major role when it comes to trends. Especially, I told you before how much more importance lifestyle thing plays. Imagine if you made garments before, and imagine you picked a trend before, and then suddenly there is COVID, and then the whole trends have changed because people are not going out anymore. So your party wear is not going to sell. Whatever you're going to design for nightclubs is not going to sell. So you have to focus your collection more towards what works for people at home. So there should be an immediate shift towards of your collection when immediately as soon as you see there is a change in the lifestyle. And that is very important in creating bestsellers, because bestseller, when you say bestseller, it doesn't just come like that. It comes with a lot of research, and for something to become a bestseller, there should be a lot of people buying it, and a lot of people have to buy it. You need to look at what is commonly influencing them, and lifestyle is a major factor which influences many people at the same time. And why I say news is important as a part of a trend research is because something, say, the most common example now, which I can tell you, is people nowadays have come across a strong restriction towards buying products from China. Most of the produce which we actually buy in UK and everything is from China. And I live in UK, so the market which I'm talking about is UK market. Again, in India, after the India-China war and the Galwan Valley clash and all that, there's a lot of restriction. There's a lot of pushback towards against the Chinese product. So it is very important to follow the news, because you could probably be making something, garments or something, for which the fabric's probably coming from China, or some trims or something coming from China. And when it comes to public common attention that, okay, this particular thing is coming from China, then suddenly, or probably your brand has most of its produce coming from China, then probably there could be sudden pushback from the clients against your brand. So it is very important to follow the news. What is the common attitude of the people around? The next thing that you need to do is researching on competitor brands, which is again very important, because you're not a lone survivor in the market. You need to look at what your other brands are doing, what is the style that your other brands, competitor brands, are repeating season after season. See, the most common thing which I find personally, which I research on, is we have our own brands, but we also look at the brands which are competitive to us, and I always see particularly what is the style or what is the kind of garment that they are repeating again and again, season after season. When some brand is repeating the same kind of style season after season, that straight away means that that particular style is selling very well for them. So the next question that comes to my mind is, how do I take the style which they are selling already? We don't want to copy something, because then your brand name would be tarnished. So you take a product and then you see, how do I improve this product? How do I make this product better, so that the clients who are going to that particular store buying that product turn towards my store because my product is even more better? How do I improve the fabric and things like that? So for me to have this information, I need to understand what my competitors are selling well. So for this purpose, I need to research on the competitor brands, and it is very, very, very important. And the last one here is the most neglected place for trend research, which is trim manufacturers and fabric mills. People or brands or even the most experienced trend researchers rarely go to fabric mills to see what is the new trends, or rarely go to a trim manufacturers to see what is the new trend. But this is something that I have found from my experience. What happens is, see, imagine how will you know some particular style is picking up very well? The only way you know is when you go to stores and then you start shopping, and then you see every brand is doing it, and then you think, oh, this is in fashion, but I haven't picked up on this trend. I've missed out on the whole sale of it. So how do you pick that thing early? When a garment is made, garment making is not a week's process or something. It is 3 to 4 months process. At least a 6 months process if you start from trend research. Designers research the trends, then they start developing the fabrics, then you start developing the garments, and then you have a capsule collection. You see how much, you see with work with the salesman and everybody, how well these garments are going to sell, and then you place your orders. So which means in the 6 months process, before your garment hits the store, 4 to 5 months before, the fabrics that are going to be used in your collection are already in the fabric mill. They're already made in the fabric mill. So instead of you seeing the trend 6 months later in the store, if you actually research, if you actually start visiting fabric mills, and if you start looking what are the new fabrics that the fabric mills are developing, what are the new fabrics that they are doing for different brands, that will give you a great perspective. It will take you 6 months before the market, before the garments hit the stores. Imagine there's a brand called Scotch and Soda. They're one very popular brand in Europe, and they make very fashion forward clothing. So if you know the mills that Scotch and Soda work with, if you approach the mill and try to look at the fabrics 3 to 4 months before the Scotch and Soda garments hit the market, then you could have in your store clothing which is equally competitive to Scotch and Soda, and which is equally fashionable to them, so that you have created a very tough competition for them, and that's how you create your market. And so it's very important, guys. Remember, going to the fabric mills, going to the trim manufacturers, and finding out what are the new trims that they are developing, what are the new fabrics that they are developing, and even innovation. What is the new innovation that has been made by them is very important to understand and predict trends. So now you've crossed 2 stages of creating your bestseller. First thing, you understood your brand and your clients very well. You have done your research properly in detail. The next thing that you go into is planning your collection. So once you have your trends ready, you don't just straight away jump into the collection and start making the collection. You need to plan your range, your collection, much ahead. You need to space it properly, so that in the last minute you're not out of budget, but you have great ideas, but you're out of budget, and then you can't place orders for some styles. You're in a big trouble. At the same time, you need to you cannot change the look of a brand all of a sudden overnight. Imagine you go to a brand, imagine you go to H&M store or a Zara store or a Next store. Once you visited their store, and if you're a regular customer for them, 3rd time or 2 times you visited the store, imagine, and then 3rd time when you're going, you already have an idea in your mind what kind of garments you're going to see there. Are they going to fit my style and look? imagine if that store has suddenly changed the look and everything, and they start making something completely different just because the trends have changed. Then the customers that they already have will get very disappointed, because people don't change fashion overnight. People try to, imagine if I buy t-shirts like these, I try to go to the stores that sell the same kind of t-shirts. I go and buy in the same stores again and again, because I understand that this particular store is going to do styles which match to my kind of a style or my kind of a look or something like that. So it's important that the stores should not change their direction, uh, their collection immediately, every season to season. So how do you plan your range to maintain some kind of a consistency in your brand? So the first point that we're going to look at is repeating your best sellers. Every store has some styles that sell well every season after season. If you go to Gap, or if you go to Banana Republic, or Old Navy, or any brand, for Abercrombie and Fitch or Hollister, they always have a part of the collection which is called a staple part of a collection, which is always there. They do it season after season, year after year, because people are going to come every year to their stores just to buy those garments. So you should not change, you should not kill that line, because that's a part of your collection that you've already sold, because you've already made a name on that product, and you've already sold that in mentally, you've already sold those garments to them. So you should not stop those lines. So 20% of your collection you should plan in such a way that you're repeating your best sellers, the garments that sold well season after season. You need to allocate 20% of your collection to that. Then you need to move on. You cannot keep repeating the same old styles. So you allocate another 20% of your collection with moderate variations of your best sellers. So imagine if you made hoodies, if your brand sells a lot of hoodies really well season after season, because your fabric is, for example, fantastic, or people love the way your garment feels or something like that. So you do pullover hoodies season after season, and they're selling very well. So this season you want to make something different. You want to probably make the pullover hoodie with a high neck, or probably you want to give contrast in your hoodies, or you want to try some different trimmings on it, or if you want to add some the kind of a patches or some kind of a styling detailing to that. So that's where you spend the next 20% of your collection, which is making moderate variations of your best sellers, so that people who buy your bestseller garment next season, when they come into your store, they want to buy something a little more different, but they want to stick to that same style. That's when this part of collection is catering to those kind of people. And then you allocate another 10%, which is new product, but still connected to your bestseller. It's moving on from your bestseller, but still it's connected to your bestseller. Imagine you do a lot of tie-dye garments. Okay, if tie-dye garments are selling very well for you, sold very well for you last season, and then this season you cannot just completely kill the line. You need to probably, last season, imagine if you do a tie-dye all over garment tie-dye, okay, and so this season you need to create a move on from there. Again, you cannot just repeat the tie-dye, because that was a trend last season and last season, and you don't know if that trend would still continue this season. Then you need to make a move on for the tie-dye. Probably this season you would do tie-dye as a print, or as a graphic print, or something like that. So this way you're still connected to the trend, but you're not repeating the same trend and becoming boring. You have innovation in your brand, but you're still sticking to your basics. So once you have your 50% of your collection planned this way, then you have already put yourself into a safe zone. And probably out of this 50%, you've already pre-sold 30 or 40%, because these are your best sellers and this is coming from your best sellers. So you know that this is going to work well for you. So the next thing that you look at is the next 40%, how creatively and how innovatively you're going to use this next 40%. This is where your trend research, which we looked at in the previous slide, comes into play. So the next 40% you're going to use for designing clothes, which are for which the direction is taken from the couture brands, from the ready-to-wear fashion weeks. And these, you will use the trends that you've picked from the influencers or from the social media. You will use the trends that you picked from forecasting websites, lifestyle, innovation, all these things which we looked at through the forecasting in the slide. Those we will be using onto the next 40% of your collection. So that's where all your innovative fabrics, new applications, new surface treatments, new washes, everything new you're going to try, because you have to bring freshness to your brand season after season. If you keep the product more or less the same every season, then the brand might look quite stale for the customers who walk into the store regularly. For a new customer, everything might look new, but for a customer who's coming to the store every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, you need to have freshness in the store. So the whole success of creating a bestseller garment lies in trying to find the right balance between them. And over the years, this is the ratio that I have figured out, which works best for my customers, for my brand, and probably it might work well for most brands, because it has a right mixture of repeating your best sellers, a right mixture of innovative product. So what do you do with the last 10%? You hold on to it. The last 10%, which we see in the slide, you hold on to it. You don't spend it till probably the 2 months before the collection, before the season, or 3 months before the season, because sometimes there are some last minute trends. You need to keep some amount of your budget for these last minute trends to pick up on this and to make use on this. Remember, if you remember the song Gangnam Style, it became an overnight sensation. Everywhere, everybody was singing the song. Every store was playing that song. Everywhere you see memes of it and mocks of it, and everywhere. So how, if there is a trend that comes up late in the season suddenly, and then if you want to have if you want to do t-shirts that capture that celebration, that capture that moment, capture the trend, so how do you do that? You need to keep behind some amount of your budget for that, and that's where this 10% comes into play. And also you want to probably try something really experimental. See, how do your brand, if you have a brand or if you're working for a brand, how do your brand move from a stage of being a trend follower to a stage of becoming a trendsetter? You have to have an innovation of your own. If you are always following the trends from the trend research, if you're always following things from your best sellers, then when will be a stage when you become a trendsetter? So that's where you use this 10%, where you create the most craziest trends, you bring in the most innovative product into your store, just to keep the customer excited. When customers walk into the store, they see something really surprising, really exciting, and that is when people have this idea, oh, this brand is not just a trend follower, they're actually a trendsetter. And if you are successful with your 10% experiment season after season, probably the next season you increase this 10% to 20% and 30%, and then you become a brand from a trend follower to a trendsetter. So now we have passed 3 stages. You know your brand very well, your trend research, you've done your trend research, you've planned your range very well. Now comes the most exciting part of your collection, which is actually designing the collection. So there are certain ways of designing collection. Every designer have their own style, every designer does their collection in their own ways. But very important thing when you're designing, this is something I'm telling you as a designer with 20 years of experience designing in this industry. You don't design garment from your perspective, on your individual personal taste. You design garments from a customer's perspective, and that's the key secret of creating a best-selling garment. You need to see how a customer sees a garment, and only when you understand the customer's attitude, you can create garments that sell very well. So how does a customer approach a garment? Let's take a quick look in the slide. Let's just imagine, for the purpose of the slide, you walk into a store, okay, and to buy some clothes, and then let's see how you react to how your behavior changes in the store, step by step, and that's how you design step by step in your mind. The first step, imagine you're in a store. You walked into a store, imagine a Pantaloons or Globus or whatever stores you have in India. You walked into a store, or say Zara for the matter. What is the first thing? You stand in the middle of the store. You just don't go to every rack and every rail and you don't pick up every garment. You just go to a store, you just take a look around what interests you. So when you stand in some place in a store and you're looking around, you're not going to see the fine details you did in the garment. Nobody's going to see the most expensive buttons you've used in the garment. What everybody sees first is what catches their eye. There are probably 20 rails in a store, and what catches their eye is the first thing they will walk down to and take the garment. So what catches their eye? So the most influential element of design is, out of the 4 elements of design, is color. Color plays a significant role in making someone move towards that particular rail and pick up that particular garment. So you need to pay extreme amount of attention to the color trends. What are the colors that you're going to use in your garment, or what are the surface patterns, what are the prints that you're going to use in the garment? Because that's the first thing that someone who walked into the store is going to see from a distance. When someone goes to a store, they see from a distance that particular fabric looks interesting. They're not going to see your styling at first. First thing they're going to see is the fabric, or the pattern on top of the fabric, or the color. So you make sure you do a color trends right, use the right amount, right color, kind of colors, right kind of patterns, and all that. So now you've caught their attention. Now your garment the bestseller that you've created has caught their attention because you've used the right color. What is the next thing that you do when you see the garment in the store? The next thing you do is you go and touch the garment. you go and take the garment from the hanger or something like that. So imagine you hold a garment, you like the color of a garment, you walked in there, you hold the garment, and it feels normal. You take the garment, and then immediately what you do is actually you see the garment. But imagine there's a step in between. You touch the garment, and imagine the touch feels amazingly good. You hold the fabric and immediately feels, oh wow, this feels really nice. Imagine if you can create that little feeling. That's something when he walked towards the garment, he didn't expect that sensation on the garment, but it is a surprise. It's an element of surprise, which he thinks that, oh, this fabric is already good, which I've seen from distance, and then now when I touch it, oh, it feels really nice. And so it immediately made a positive impact towards the buyer. So the next thing is they hold it, and the touch of the fabric that you use, or the hand feel, or the wash that you used on the garment is fantastic. The buyer is already impressed because that's something he didn't expect it from a distance. So the next thing after he touches the garment and feels good is what are you gonna do? It's natural. It's natural human process. You see a garment from distance, you go and you touch it, it feels good, or then you take the garment, you see it in your hand, and that's where your cut and your styling and your little detailing, your expensive buttons you used, or your expensive trims that you use, everything comes to play. They're not going to play the first instance. They come in the third stage of the play. So when they see the garment, they see that, okay, the styling is very good, the detailing is very nice, everything looks good. Now they like the garment. What is the next thing that you're going to do? Now that you like the garment, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to turn the price tag and look at what is the price of this garment. So pricing is going to play a key role in the sale. We all know that. It's nothing new. And it's a common science that the most expensive garment in the store never sells. It's as simple as that. Imagine when you're walking into a Zara store, for example, okay, you're not going to imagine, that you're not going to buy a garment that's going to cost you $1,000 or something, because Zara probably sells from say $30 to $150. So that is the price range which you are already expecting in your mind, and that's why you go to your store and you go to Zara store. You're not going to go to Zara thinking that you're going to buy a garment for $2 or $3. At the same time, you're not walking into a Zara store thinking you're going to buy a garment for $2,000. So when a customer walks into a store, he already has a price range in his mind, and that's the reason why he has walked into that store and he's not walked into some other expensive designer store like Gucci or something, or Louis Vuitton or something, because if he has that budget in his mind, that is the store he would visit to. So my point here is, when someone walks into a store, they already have a fixed price in their mind, and the garment that you're selling cannot hit the high end of that price range. The store sells garments from say $25 to $150. Your garment cannot be priced at $150. You need to price your garment at $70, $60, $40, whatever that is, that works with the garment and the styling. But you cannot be the most expensive garment in that store, especially. And this is very important in a store that sells multiple brands, because what happens is they like this garment, they like two garments, and your brand is selling something for say $80, and some other brand is selling a very similar style, similar garment, similar graphic t-shirt or something for $30. And naturally the customer, this is nice, but it's too expensive. Immediately imagine if the same garment is there in another store which sells garments for $1,000. If he sees the garment there, then they won't compare. But it's human tendency. We always compare the price of a garment to the garment next to it. You see garments, okay, this garment is $20, this garment is $25, this garment is $30, this garment is $200. Wow, this is expensive. That's the reaction you would get. And imagine $20, $30, $40, $30. Oh, this is okay. The style is everything. I liked it, but it's still $30. It's in a workable price range. So price plays a very important role. So after you like the price, what is the next thing that you're going to do? You would walk into the fit room, the trial room, and then you will try the fit of the garment. That's where the fit becomes very, very important. Like my previous the professor who has spoken before me, the way he's mentioned, fit plays a very, very key role in selling of the garment. The moment you go into the trial room, you try the garment, and if it fits very well, and if the fit complements the buyer, then it plays a great role in helping the sale of the garment. So now you have almost successfully sold the garment, because you have attracted them from the right color, the right touch, the right styling, and then you have the right price, and the person feels and looks fantastic after wearing your garment. So what makes now the person has bought the garment and taken it back home and all that. So what makes that customer come back to your store again? He's bought the garment, he's gone. He should not forget your store. But what makes him come back to your store is quality. Quality is less spoken, but it is more proven. nobody talks goes you never buy a garment, go to the home, go home and think, oh, the quality after washing is still good. Nobody says that. But imagine you buy a garment, you take it home, you wash your garment, and then the garment shrinks or the color bleeds or something, then you're immediately disappointed. Nobody talks about quality as long as it is good, but everyone's going to talk about quality as soon as it becomes bad. So the moment somebody washes your garment and the color or something bleeds, he's never going to walk into your store, or he's never going to buy a garment from your brand ever again. So it makes, and then you lose a customer, and when you lose a customer, you lose a customer for a lifetime. It's gone forever. And then the word of mouth, what the customer tells other people, and then you lose a lot more customers. So keeping while all the above points are very important in selling a garment, the durability, the fabric, the color, the stitch of the garment, the stitch is not breaking, all this help the customer come back to the store again and again and keep buying your garments again and again. And that is what is very important in creating a best selling garment. So these are the elements which you have to keep in mind while selling your best selling garment. And then we move on to the last stage, which is the presentation and customer experience. I don't have to tell much about this. We all know this. Visual merchandising plays a key role in presenting, how you present your garment, the ambience, the light in the store, and how well you pack your garment and how well you display your garment plays a great role in helping your garment sell well. And the next thing is accessorizing the garment is a great idea, which some of the stores are doing today. Like, not if you're presenting, imagine a lady's top. Nowadays, some of the stores are adding an accessory to the top just to show that how nice it's going to look with an accessory. So it plays a key role in helping to sell the garment better, in making a better appeal to more number of audience. And then another important thing in the store which you need to maintain is restocking and rearranging the merchandise. When someone wants to buy a garment, that when you're looking for the sizes, if they don't find the sizes, you ask a storekeeper to, or a salesman or someone to find your size. It's quite a chaotic experience. You want the experience to be as pleasant as possible for your customer, so that he leaves your store with a good experience and they come back to your store again and again. So restocking the missing sizes is very important. And then the salesman customer experience, which is the fourth point, is very important. The customer should not feel like the salesman is standing right on his neck all the time. At the same time, the customer should not feel like he's being completely ignored. So it plays a very key role. The moment a customer walks into the store, the salesman goes, present, greets him and introduces him into any offers in the store, and then leaves him at peace. And keeps a watchful eye on him in case the customer needs you, so that he can go back and attend to the customer, but not just standing on the neck of the customer and trying to arrange the garments immediately after the customer leaves. This makes the customer very uncomfortable. Okay, because what is very important is today's visitors are tomorrow's customers. That's the next point, which is, imagine there are many times, I myself as a student, when I was a student, I used to go to some of the stores for trend research and all that. And then I used to look at the stores and the prices and all that. And I used to think, oh my God, this is so bloody expensive. Would I ever buy a garment of this price? Impossible. I would never spend so much money on a garment. Fast forward 5 years, I would have gone to the same store, bought that garment, or bought that kind of a garments in that kind of a price point, because something inspired me in that store, or something inspired me in that. At that point in time, your customer might look like, someone who walked into your store might look like, this person's not going to buy, or this person cannot afford the garment. But you leave him with a good taste of experience in the store, that person is going to walk back into your store someday when he can afford to buy your garments at your price. So leaving a customer with a good experience is very, very important, because today's visitors are tomorrow's customers. And finally, the last point is obviously the promotions and the sales and the loyalty cards. And very important thing is easy returns. You should not make customers' life difficult when they buy something from your store. The moment they buy something from your store, they go home and try it or something like that, and they find something wrong in the store, it should be easy for them to come back and return. The moment you make their life difficult, they would be scared to buy something from you, and it would leave a very bad taste of experience. So it is very important that you follow all this. So once you follow these 5 steps and you do it, you execute these 5 steps with thorough detail, with thorough attention, you have customers who are happy. You have clothes that sell really well because you have made a good appeal to every customer, every person who's walking into the store. And when you've made a good appeal to every person who's walking into your store, you have customers coming back again and again into the store. When you have more customers coming back again into the store, that means you have more buyers in your store. And when you have more buyers in your store, then even your average style, the style which normally sells probably averagely in your store, will also sell more, because there are more people seeing it. And when there are more people buying more garments from your store, you create more bestsellers. And that's how your brand becomes successful, and that's how you create a great collection. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ashwin. It was a very wonderful presentation to sharing about your ideas on how to sell the garments and understanding about the consumers in terms of design, style, fit, and also the shopping behavior, all those aspects. It was very wonderful to our students as well as the faculty members of our NIFT.
I hope it was useful, Kumaraguru.
Yeah, it's very useful. It was very useful because it's practical aspects, the way how you handle your business. It's not
yes,
like
it's true, because the most important thing is this is the meter of success. You could be a designer, you could be a merchandiser, you could be someone from the production, but what is the most important final result? That the end title is how many garments you sold. You could be a great designer, but you never sold anything. Your pieces are only for the museum. That means nothing to anybody. So how well your garments sell is the measure of success, and creating bestsellers is a key role. And that's something that I wanted to share with all the students today.
Yes, thank you. So now the time for questions for the participants. So you can ask the questions to.
Sorry, guys, I've taken more time than I was allocated, I think, but I hope it was useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot.
Kumaraguru, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
Can you go to the question and answers at the last? I think so. We have two esteemed.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, we can keep it. We can keep it in the last.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
It is a combine because they can give, and it can give new idea to all the audience that how we have. And I also want to thank Ashwin. I have forgotten. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I haven't named you. But you are the NIFT alumni, and connecting the dots is the most important thing. It is very important for faculty and our students. And it is one of the useful aspects. And you are a wonderful guy, wonderful presentation. And it is very useful for the startups who want to be there in the business. How well research you have to do on different kind of angles. That means if they are studying critical thinking and creative thinking, how these kind of aspects has to be applied into their thought process to become a successful entrepreneur. You have given a big idea, and you have focused that in a successful business, how repeat customers are very important, and how quality production and everything is very important. I think so. That is one of the wonderful and useful tips that you have given to the students. So now I am taking to Kumaraguru.
Yes, sir.
So we will proceed further. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The question sessions, maybe we can keep it in the last. So
yeah.
We'll move to the next session, sir. The next speaker is Mrs. Sanjana Bhat. Hi, Sanjana, are you available?
Yes, I'm available.
Okay. So she was my student in Pearl Academy, Chennai, and she passed out BA Honors Fashion Design in the year 2013. So presently, she working as a sportswear designer in Schure Sports, Canada, and she started working on many type of category in terms of men's, women's, and boys and girls technical outerwear and mid layers and base layer of fabric collections. And she was the one instrumental of recycled fabric in that brand in the sportswear collections fall 2019 and fall 2020 collections by initiating seasonal developments with strong in terms of trend analysis and the material forecast. So prior to Schure Sports Canada, she worked as a senior designer in Outerwear Clothing Ltd, Chennai. So during the time, she worked with many brands in export as well as a domestic brand in Outerwear clothing. And her main idea towards the design collection in terms of new inspiration and new design development and new color trends and all the collections what she has done on the Outerwear clothing. And also she visited for the many forecast visits, many forecast fairs like Premier Vision and New York Fashion Weeks and International Fair at Shanghai. All those things she visited. And prior to that, she worked as a junior designer at Magnum Clothing Ltd, Chennai. And she also worked as a women's wear designer in ready-to-wear category. And other than that, most important thing, she got the design award for Vogue Honors in 2011 for Will Style debut. So that was the one of the best thing what she achieved in her student career. And also she got the best academic performance award also for outstanding performance in 2013. So I welcome Sanjana. So you can share your screen and you can speak about your session on what are the sustainable practices and approach you are following in your sportswear brand, in your industry? You can share it and you can speak. Thank you.
Thank you for such a detailed description about myself. It was a great introduction. Hello to everyone, and thank you for having me here. I hope it's going to be a useful session. Firstly, happy Onam to everyone who celebrates Onam, and advanced Raksha Bandhan for the ones who celebrate Raksha Bandhan. So I'm going to first start by speaking about my topic today. It's about sustainable practices in sportswear and product development. Now, sportswear is a very wide category, so I've narrowed it down to ski. It's a ski brand that I've been working for called Carbon for over 2 years now, and I'm going to speak a little bit about what are the key features and what other brands, global brands, outdoor brands around the industry have been practicing. And I'm also going to talk about what we have done differently. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, so to start with, I'm going to take you through some key essential features in ski clothing, what global brands and ski brands around the world are doing with sustainability and how they're introducing sustainability into their product development. I haven't put light, I've just taken two interesting concepts that I found across different outdoor brands, and I'm going to talk about it. And lastly, I'm going to talk about what we did at Carbon for the pandemic year 2020. Now, the key features in any sportswear brand is high performance standards. We need very high technical specifications. As you see in the photo right on the slide, you see there's a man and a woman in a ski attire, and they're out in the snow. We need to ensure the snow doesn't seep in or get into their clothing. So there are a lot of technical aspects to a garment inside in terms of construction and design that we need to ensure are taken care of while we design these clothes. Now, these fabrics are essentially multi-layered waterproof fabrics. When I say multi-layer, they are essentially, you have a face surface of the fabric, you have a membrane, and then at the bottommost, you have a laminate. So the membrane is basically sandwiched between the fabric surface and the laminate itself. And this fabric surface is usually treated with chemical finishes, essentially DWR, that is commonly used in the industry. DWR are durable water repellent finishes, and I'm going to talk about it in my next slide. Now, even though we've made our fabric waterproof, we still need to ensure the water doesn't seep through the seams and cut lines that a garment has. So we need to tape those seams. We call that process seam sealing. And the last thing is durability. That's extremely key. There is a lot of wear and tear because an athlete is moving in these garments in full speed down a hill. And like you see, that man is carrying the skis on his shoulders. So there's a lot of fabric aberration. We need to keep all that into account and ensure the garments are durable, as ski clothes are extremely expensive in nature. Now, this is just a glimpse of what skiing looks like, as many of you would be wondering, what is this new sport I'm talking about? So this is what it looks like. So you see there's a lot of movement. The guy is skiing down the hill, and this is just a small glimpse of what it looks like. This is a most practiced sport in North America, both in Canada and parts of US. It is a quite common sport in the winters where people backpack over the weekends, go to a ski hill, and they practice skiing. Now, moving on to what is durable water repellent finish, or the DWR. Now, DWR was essentially a long chain carbon perfluoro-based treatment. It's a treatment that's applied onto the fabric surface for the waterproof, for the fabric to achieve a waterproof surface. You see how the water just stays onto the fabric in the picture, and that's how it is waterproof. However, the byproducts of this particular treatment are extremely toxic. So governments around the globe have banned this treatment. So yes, chemical companies and industries and brand suppliers have been looking for alternates, and they have found some temporary solutions. One is where they use a C6. It's again a PFC-based treatment, but it's a shorter carbon chain, and it has less impact to wildlife, humans, or the fish. And next is the PFC-free treatment. Now, PFC-free treatments, the only disadvantage, they are also chemical finishes applied onto the fabrics, but there are limitations both in terms of performance and durability. When it comes to performance, especially in very demanding uses like sailing or skiing itself, when the climatic conditions and external environment is too demanding, the treatment has its own limitations, and also the treatment wears off over a period of time. Even DWR for that matter, it wears off after 6 to 10 washes, and it has to be renewed onto the garment again. Now, why am I explaining all this to you? I'm going to be taking you through a brand that's called Helly Hansen. The brand is essentially from Norway, and it's been in the industry since, I think, 1877. So the brand has been in the industry for a while now. It is a trusted brand for professionals on the oceans, the mountains, as well as for work sites. So it is a brand for ski professionals as well as world-class sailors. Now, what they did was they created a 3-layer laminate, where I said fabrics are multi-layered. So they still had the 3-layer finish on the fabric, where they had the face fabric, they had the membrane, and they had the laminate. So they created a 3-layer laminate, which was essentially based on hydrophobic properties of polypropylene. So they used 100% polypropylene fibers to create this fabric, and they went from PFC free to DWR free. So they essentially have no chemical treatments on the fabric, and it is just waterproof by nature. Now, why is that? So what Helly Hansen did was they used the fibers, which is the LIFA fiber. It's their proprietary technology that they have been working on since 1870s. It was literally back then they were the first brand who came up with a technical underwear ever made in an outdoor industry. So this is their proprietary technology. It's called the LIFA Infinity Pro is the name of their fabric. And the LIFA itself, the inbuilt nature of the fabric is such that it is hydrophobic. It repels water, and it does not allow the fabric surface to saturate. So you're saving in terms of the chemical treatments that are applied onto the fabric, and it's less impact on the environment because you don't have those harmful perfluorocarbons anymore in the air. Now, the next thing that they did was the LIFA Infinity Pro fibers are actually dyed using a solution-based technology. So the dyeing involves fibers before they are actually extruded, and this, whereas in a traditional dyeing process, you would see a lot of harmful chemicals in the wastewaters, which is not the case in this particular dyeing process. And the most important thing is the dyeing is more permanent in this case. So you don't have to apply any chemical treatments onto the fabric. It just is the nature of the fabric to repel water. This is how the picture of the fabric would look like. You have the LIFA, the LIFA fabric or face fabric on top, which essentially is waterproof because that's the nature of the fiber. And then you have the Infinity membrane, so you don't need any treatments there. The membrane, usually the membrane decides the breathability, and you need the garments to be breathable as an athlete is moving in it, and the fabric has to be breathable to an extent. So what this does is the membranes, the pores on the membrane are big enough for the vapor to go through, but they are small enough for the water to pass through. And then they have a nylon backer, which is essentially the lamination. So every brand has different terminologies. They either would call it a laminate or a backer. In this case, they have used backer as their term. So this is a small clip of what their promo looked like for the Lifa Infinity Pro. So this is essentially what skiing looks like as well. Now, before I move on to the next slide, I'm going to be talking about few challenges that the industry is facing. Yes, there are chemicals that are in the environment which are extremely harmful, and we wear them on an everyday basis. That is one big problem that we're all facing. The next one is the waste that the industry is generating. Now, this waste generated is one side, but to be able to track it is another side. So now brands are trying to create a circular system where they are able to put the stuff back that they make into the system where they can recycle, resell, and various other things. So there is a brand based out of Sweden. Oops, I'm sorry.
This is the story of the cult.
Okay, so this is a brand called Houdini. It's based out of Sweden, and they used trackable zippers to close the circularity gap. So theirs was a partnership between Eon and YKK. Eon is the largest product cloud, and YKK is the largest zipper manufacturer in the world. So they did a partnership where they used Houdini marked their first product, which was essentially a parka, and they converted that to, they designed that parka with a YKK's new TouchLink NFC zipper. NFC zipper is using the near-field communication technology. So it is just a matter of taking your phone, putting it next to the zipper, scanning it, and you would literally have an ID. You would connect to the Houdini database, and you would know exactly how to care for the garment, how to take care of the garment, how to use it, and various other things of where to buy it, what are the colors available. So you basically get a very customer-focused relationship that you build with the brand in terms of a curated content towards your outerwear product that you have. So this basically helps you with support services. Tomorrow you have a problem with the zipper pull, zipper snap, or there is an issue, a seam has broken on the jacket. They would actually help you on how to repair those things, or where to go closest to you to actually be able to correct those problems in your jacket. Because like I said, this product is extremely expensive, and it's like an investment a person makes when they buy outdoor product here. Now, next thing is, when we create a circular economy, a circular business model, it actually opens ideas to resale, to rental, to subscription and recycling. I personally love the idea of subscription because it allows, mainly for growing children, it allows the parents to pay a certain amount to the brand every year and be able to replace their jackets, because kids grow at such a fast pace right from their toddlers up to the age of 18, 19. And this gives them the option of having a new jacket every year rather than wearing an oversized jacket, which many parents tend to do. They always buy a size big so the kid can wear it over 2-3 years. Instead, this gives an opportunity to give away your old jacket and get something in return by paying a certain subscription amount. I believe Nike does the same for their shoes itself as well, where they've created a business model. This creates brand loyalty between the customer and the brand itself. So with this, the brands have started taking more responsibility. Their responsibility doesn't end by just selling the product. It is actually a little bit more. It continues with use, care, reuse, and the next life of the product. I think this also helps them bring in a business model which is more relationship based. It distances these brands from those transactional customers who just come, do a one-time buy and leave, which has always been the problem in our retail business model. Now, the next one is a bit about the brand where I work. I work at Carbon. Carbon has been in the market for over 20 years, and it was founded in 1982. We are essentially a ski brand. The product, the lady wearing that product is a ski product. It's essentially bright colors. We have been using recycled fabrics in our collections. We have recycled thermal insulations in the jackets that help keep people warm, as a lot of brands are moving from real goose down, which is extracted from geese and ducks. We're moving from the real natural feathers into something that's more eco-friendly. We are removing fur from our product itself, as it's exploitation of little animals for just keeping us a little warm. So aside from that, I would like to put some light on how we did during the pandemic year 2020. So during 2020, we start designing for 2021. And we essentially have 3 stages of sampling. We start with prototypes, then we have the salesman samples, and lastly is the pre-production samples. Prototypes are essentially made from initial scraps. They are tech packs that we send to the factory, and they send us all the samples with corrections and new fabrics and whatever new stuff we want to do. Now, salesman samples, like the name suggests, are specifically meant for sales only. So these samples, if our catalog usually has about 500 samples, each style would have 5 colors, and we would have easily about 100 styles across different collections in a catalog every year. So say we've made 500 salesman samples. These samples are into 2,000 samples because we sell both in the US and in Canada. So we make 2 sets for 2 different countries. And these samples are actually taken to different destinations for trade shows. These trade shows are for us to widen our reach. We actually access different retailers, like how you have Lifestyle in India that curates product from different brands and puts it under one roof. We also put our product with retailers like that. They're big stores. We have stores like Sporting Life here that we have to go into these trade shows for, where we have buyers coming in from all across looking at these samples. So what we were able to do differently is we were able to digitize that entire phase. So we looked at different options. We did 3D rendering using Clo, Optitex, and we also put these garments on Photoshop, tried tweaking colors, and we came up with a completely digital catalog. All our orders were essentially placed based on a digital catalog. So there was a huge savings made out of that, as the travel was cut, obviously due to the pandemic. Samples were saved because we didn't have to pay factories for salesman samples anymore, and we were able to just circulate our entire catalog over a digital phase, and we didn't have to personally ship these catalogs to anybody or anywhere. So that's pretty much what we did and how we evolved ourselves from doing things differently, and how we changed from a very an industry where people would travel and go and meet brands themselves, to something that we just restricted amongst ourselves and digitized the whole phase of that sampling. So this is what I had to share today, and I hope it's been helpful to all of you. And yes, this is my presentation. If you have any questions, I would definitely like to answer them.
Sanjana, it was a very wonderful presentation. The way how you delivered about the brand which you're working on, the Carbon. So I have one question actually. So in which way, how you select the materials for the material selection, whether it is a polyester or a nylon or polyamide, for the outerwear collections when you select it actually, especially for the sky the riding jacket actually?
So what it essentially happens is, if it's a brand so old, like a 20-year-old brand, we literally run the same fabric year after year. If there is a fabric that's working, we run it year after year. The only thing that changes is the recycled element or the finish on the fabric. And how we choose the material is mainly on the cost. So polyester is generally cheaper than a nylon. So we would go, there are certain collections where we can't afford a nylon base. So we would go into a polyester base. There are certain collections we can't afford to add stretch because all these things cost us extra money. So we have a set of fabrics that a supplier would send us. We would have a budget in mind, and the way we select our fabrics are predominantly based on cost. And we did bring in the recycled element. So any recycled fabric comes with an upcharge of few cents. So only if that collection or that market can afford it would we put a recycle, because it's still not something that is very easily, something that an American customer is okay to pay for. Because honestly, the recycle and the sustainability trend is still sitting with Europe, and it is slowly coming into North America. Because all this while, people in North America are like, you know what, we're happy with what we have. But now, because there's more talk about it, and they're seeing how Europe is becoming so big, we're trying to slowly get there. So right now, it's still around cost. It's about, because we need to understand that I can put all the nylon and all the fun stuff, and I can put the stretch and everything, but is my customer going to pay for it? Maybe not. So then I need to take a back seat and decide accordingly. It is all cost driven at the end of the day.
Okay. Let's have the question sessions later after Tashi's presentation. Okay,
Sure,
because
okay.
we're running short of time. So
Alright.
yeah, we just been online. After Tashi's presentation, so there are a lot of questions about your presentation.
Okay.
Tashi, are you available? Tashi?
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
sir.
Could you just switch on your camera, Tashi?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome you, Tashi.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd like to give an introduction about Tashi. She's basically a Tibetan, and she settled in China. She's running her own brand called T Lhamo Studio. Her ideology about her design collections, the way how she convert the Tibetan traditional elements in terms of her silhouettes design, as well as the print and surface explorations. And she basically completed her undergraduate in Pearl Academy of Fashion, Chennai in 2013. And also she worked as a junior kidswear designer in Just Cube's Shaw Apparel, Chennai in 2013. So after that, she done a 2 months entrepreneurship course in University of Virginia, USA from January 13 to February 24. So other than that, now more than 6 years, she running her own label in Chengdu, China. She made many spring summer and autumn winter collections from 2016 to 2021, and she participated in many China International Fashion Weeks in her collections, as well as in some nearby countries also. And she used to organize many sustainable fashion workshops in China for the students, as well as the design people who works on ready-to-wear collection. Along with that, she made many customized products for the clients who work in China, the celebrities, and as well as the business people who wants to take up a ready-to-wear collection. And also she made many corporate wear collections for the corporate companies in China. Other than that, then she takes a lot of internship students who study fashions in China, and also in her own label she's doing that. Then other than that, she designed a contemporary ethnic wear collections for Canting Love Song Festival in 2021. So welcome you, Tashi. So you can share your experience, the way how you carry forward the design, the learning process, what you learn in India, as well as the kind of your own religion from Tibet, how you carry forward your ideas into the Chinese design collection also. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Guru sir, for the kind introduction. Usually I'm not a very good speaker, but still, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'll try my best. So I will start with my presentation.
Should I need to share the screen, or will you able to share the screen? Is it happening, Tashi? Just hold a second. Let me share the screen. Will you be able to see the screen, Tashi?
Tashi is online, or we have lost her?
She's online only. So just 1 second, sir. Let me check with her, sir. She was not in the call, sir. I'm just trying to connect her.
In the meantime, can we take question for anybody?
Yes, sir. We can go ahead with the questions for Mr. Ashwin and Mrs. Sanjana. Participants, if you have any questions about the science of creating for best-selling garments as well as the sustainable practices for sportswear, you can discuss with the two speakers.
Sanjana, still more of our students are not that much familiar because skiing is taking place only in J&K, Himachal, Uttarakhand, and Northeast region, Sikkim. So people in the middle part of India or southern India might not be that much if they are not adventurous. But still now for the defense forces, new textile technology is coming up, and for monsoon, this thing, and for war strategy, different kind of clothings are there. I think so. These kind of new innovative technology and these kind of techniques and the how fabric and textile is being made is very important. That is very important for each and everybody. Don't take it for only skiing and anything else for the sports wear, but it is also very much helpful for new trend in the essential clothing for defense services and for other similar kind of adventure services. I think so. Sanjana, am I right?
Yes, sir, you are very much right. This is not just restricted to the ski industry. This technology actually still prevails on our raincoats and many other things that are widely used. So yes, you are right, sir. It
And
can
our
be used.
Ministry of Textile has given a special project to NIFT Srinagar,
Right.
working with these kind of technologies and for the research. I think so. With this thing, our combination and our networking with the NIFT, we can go for these kind of things. It could be
Yes.
helpful. So let Kumaraguru will connect you and our Srinagar director and myself so that we can go ahead with these kind of things too in future.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Right.
Sanjana. Wonderful. Yeah,
Thank you.
Kumaraguru.
I'm just
Tashi is
connecting
not
Tashi, sir. Just 1 second. Maybe some network issues in your design studio, because in China they won't use Google. Some issues are there, so that's why she used some other
yeah, I know.
platform to join. Yeah, she joined, sir. She joined.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Tashi, could you just connect? You can. You no need to share your video. I'm just presenting your slides. You can just start presenting your work.
You have to unmute yourself, I think so.
Yeah, Tashi, unmute yourself, please.
Hello? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Could you
sorry.
just?
I was still talking to myself with the PPT. I didn't realize.
No, you need connections. Yeah.
Sir, I have changed a lot in my PPT. Can I still use my? Can I still share?
Okay, please share it. Please share it.
Okay.
Please share. Let me unshare my view. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, Tashi, you can share your screen.
Sir, can you see?
Yeah.
Which slide I was? I'm already here. Have you gone through this note here, right? Which slide should I start from the first? Hello?
Tashi, we haven't heard anything from the beginning, so you might probably want to start from the beginning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now everyone knows my name now. Well, I'm the founder of Lhamo Fashion Studio. We initially started as a high-end custom-made design studio in year 2016 with a debut collection show in Charas Space. And most of our design inspiration and values are drawn from our authentic Tibetan culture. And here I have a small video includes some of our custom-made design for our client, like TV series to album and influencers and Tibetan celebrities. Today, my main topic I'm going to talk about is trends in Chinese fashion, I'm going to share 3 popular trends in China. Well, China's love for fashion is nothing new, but this 2020 has truly been a year that has replete with leaps and bounds of technological and innovation, especially in fashion industry. Here I have some example of popular digital platform that has been reinforced during the pandemic era. First, we have Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, and we have Kuaishou. Well, these two are mainly used for making. And we have WeChat. It's a Chinese version of WhatsApp. And we have Alibaba.com, Tmall.com, Taobao, JD.com, Pinduoduo. Well, these are some of the most used online shopping digital apps during the pandemic era. Oh, well, this new trend has truly brought a huge traction in Chinese fashion, even during the backdrop of COVID-19. We have witnessed many domestic brands and designers and influencers have successfully made themselves into the fashion spotlight. And that has actually drawn more interest in consumers towards independent designers with local trades. And that has drastically improved the revenue than could have been predicted at the start of the year. And here I have 2 examples of some TikTok KOL. She's a young Tibetan girl next door, has and a model, and also an influencer nearly overnight because of her unique style and personality by using all this media, social media, sorry. And next, I have this guy. His name is Li Sharon, a Chinese countryside boy. He's super Victoria's Secret video went so viral and also became a supermodel within a short span of time. And for our own brand, we also work with some Tibetan KOL. Her name is Tawadoma. She's wearing our ethnic wear from 2018 MGR collection. This is still the best seller design even today. People choose to wear this design on social or special occasions and ceremonies. And we also recorded a random solo runway at our Chengdu boutique by using this TikTok. And I'm going to talk a little bit about cross-gender style. In China, we call it Mengmei trends. And this trend has been really hot during the starting of this year. Well, this mainly address the menswear is the hot women's wear, especially the oversized blazer. As you can see in the first picture, she's a Chinese actress called Wan Chen, who starred in a most recent popular TV series called Sister Who Makes Waves. She has been crowned the face of Mengmei style for her signature use of oversized men's suit. As you can see from these girls are wearing this huge oversized blazer from TV series to magazine covers to influencers and also street fashion. Since we were talking about the cross-gender style. I also wanted to share some pictures from our unisex collection. The third trend, the new green trend. Well, as we all know that about 60% of world pollution every year are directly produced from our industry, that's fashion industry. That's why I think we also holds a big responsible in practicing a more sustainable fashion. And here I have some excellent example of some sustainable fashion brands in China. We have NIMIC. NIMIC is a Beijing-based fashion brand. They are seeking to address both ethical and environmental consciousness within the label. And we have Fake NATO. They have a very unique production techniques. Their clothing are made out of discarded clothes or donated textiles, which makes themselves a truly sustainable line. And we have Susan Feng. She is known for her manufacturing of air weaving fabric, a method of cutting the pattern into strip that can minimize waste. And she recently also designed a shoe collection by using TPU. It is a biodegradable material. It comes into sizes and can fit 6 different sizes. And each shoe are handmade to avoid waste of resources. We have Schure. Schure is a social enterprise. They manufacturing fabrics and clothing by using yak down through partnership with some local Tibetan herders. They are actively contributing to the development of communities in Tibet. By speaking of Schure, last year we cooperate with them and design by using their beautiful organic material, and we designed the collection, a ready-to-wear and a knit-wear collection for the third pole of the earth, Lhasa-based brand. And for this collection, we mainly focused on some of our traditional textiles and motifs. This is a woolen apron. It is a yarn dyed and weaved material, comes in multicolor, and the color pick differs from a region to region in Tibet. And here it is a cloud. This is a very traditional style of painting the clouds. And this is a antlers note, we call it pata. And it is a sign among the 8 auspicious signs in Tibet. We call it Tashi Lhamo. There are 8 of them. And this represent the mind of wisdom and compassion. Well, as you can see, I have tried to manipulate, simplify my primary motive in a different ways. And here, as you can see, I tried to combine these 2 motifs and in a different way, and I get furthermore beautiful patterns. And here, I've tried to play with the various placement and proportion and size of the motifs to create a strong visual cohesion. And the apron I was talking about, I tried to tone down the color palette a little bit and also played with the thick and thin line on my design, as well as the proportion and size of the texture. So we were talking about sustainable fashion, our contribution to the to sustainable fashion. Well, even for a small studio like us, we also produce bags of bits and pieces of clothes every month. and I felt it is such a waste to just throw it away. And there's this idea came into my mind that why not just we make some small gift and give it away to our client as a complimentary gift. And turns out people loved it so much that we started to get a more regular customer to buy gift for their friends and families. And shortly, we also started to get bulk orders. And after that, we also host some workshops in Chengdu. This was in 2018. For this workshop, I asked all the participants to literally bring all the old garments of them, all garments of them to reuse. And we also bought our bits and pieces. We had a very long day, but a very happy and resourceful one. Most of them are made out of yak material, yak down material. Well, this whole journey has inspired and motivated us to start our own recycled product line, and we named it as Nomads on Design because we have incorporated a lot of nomadic elements into our design, product design. We started to make small pencil cases, small handbags, and very stylish handbags, laptop cases. And through this line, we get to visit a lot of beautiful Tibet place. And this is a video from a workshop to Minyak in 2018. So we have been trying our way to follow sustainable fashion, and it will continue. Sustainable fashion is something we all should follow, and collectively we can bring changes in the fashion industry. So let's join in this journey together. And this is all I wanted to share. Thank you. I wish each and everyone a good health and a successful future. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Shashi. It was a very wonderful presentation to sharing your ideas and the kind of work what you're doing for your label.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So there's a question from Mrs. Nian Shio, Tashi. Ma'am, Nian ma'am, you can ask question.
Just a moment. Can I get back?
Ma'am, your mic is mute, ma'am. Nian ma'am.
Hello, Tashi.
Hi.
It was a wonderful presentation. I really found your collections very fashionable, very contemporary to the trends that are happening, with the kind and the way you have included your crafts, the community around you, and brought them into the design business that you're doing. I just loved it. And I think there are many, many designers across the world trying to do that. And so it is with India. We also have a lot of young designers trying to do a similar thing. So would you like to share how do you reach your customers? I mean, how do you get them to see the kind of work you're doing? How do you communicate your vision and your concepts about including your original craft and traditions, material into your work, and get them to accept you as a contemporary fashion designer?
Well, we actually work with many Tibetan KOL influencers, because through them we kind of get like free advertisement. It's not free, but it's affordable advertisement, because as I mentioned before, we started as a custom-made design studio. The reason why we started to do seasonal wise collection is because if we stick to the custom-made design, the cash flow was really slow. So since I started my own studio from zero, so it's very hard for me to to handle everything. That's why we worked with some Tibetan and Chinese singers, and we would design special pieces for them for their stage shows and all. Through this, they kind of help us to pass the message that you can get this kind of design, special design from this studio, and it's just like a word of mouth.
Right. Well, I wish you all the best, and I hope one day in future, designers from India and designers from your land will come together and make this something which we can all appreciate and enjoy. So all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Now the time for the question answers to all the speakers. So the participants, if you want to ask any questions for the 4 speakers, you can ask now. So expect some questions from students of NIFT.
Good morning, everybody. My question is for Sanjana ma'am. I want to ask, like, how does the recycling affects the cost?
So with recycled fabrics, we have to pay an upcharge because there's a cost to, you're basically getting stuff out from elsewhere, transporting it to the manufacturer. They have to do certain treatments before they convert it into the right fiber. So there is obviously extra work that's going into it rather than making a virgin yarn and using that. So that's why there's cost to cleaning it up and refining it and making it into something that is workable in a recycled fabric. And that's why we generally pay an upcharge of 30 cents or 20 cents based on the kind of fabric we go for and the amount of recycled that there is. There could be a 30% recycled polyester and the rest could be nylon, or it could be a different blend altogether. So that is one of the reasons why we're still paying an upcharge for it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Sorry.
Sanjana, is that any garment wash you do in outerwear, or only in the fabric stage they do some finishing treatment?
We do a fabric finish to it. At the moment, we at this brand are not doing any garment washes to the garments, but they are all like once you buy, it's not like a denim jacket that needs extra treatments afterwards. They are essentially treated with a DWR. Like the brand I work for, we still do a DWR finish on our fabrics, and that's all done by the fabric supplier. The ready thing goes to the manufacturer, the factories cut it, and they put it together as a garment and they ship it to us. So yeah, at the moment, we don't do any further washing.
For recycled fabric which you used on outerwear, are you do any durability test or comparison with the recycled or non-recycled?
Yes, so we There is, okay, so now we don't have to do those like bigger brands. Like I'm in a very small brand, but from the knowledge I have when I was working with other clients like Marks and Spencers or Randtail, and when they switched from 100% polyester to a recycled polyester, at that point as a factory, I remember we had to submit an SGS report, which was from they used to basically do a standardization testing of the fabric and see if it actually works and it behaves the same way. So only if it works and behaves the same way as 100% polyester would it actually pass the testing. If it doesn't, then the brand would never adopt it. So there are stages like that, which at the supplier end as well as at the brand end, they need to cohesively decide about whether the fabric is going to work and whether it will pass the testing standards. With us, we generally depend on the supplier because we're a fairly smaller company, and our biggest limitation is in terms of volume. The bigger the volume, the more you can ask for. When your volumes in the product is smaller, you're restricted to a certain level of treatment you get from the suppliers because you're not asking for too much fabric, and they have to they charge you a bit more on everything because your volumes are smaller. So in this case, we depend on the supplier to do these testings for us. And we do a local testing where we take a piece of Velcro, we scrub it onto the fabric, and if the surface is wearing off, you know for sure the fabric is not durable. So we do those little, they call jugaad testings. So we still do that here and try to see if it's workable.
Okay. There is a question from Mr. Rajesh. Yeah, Rajesh,
Hi.
you can. Yeah, hi.
My question is to Ashwin. Is he here?
Yeah, he is here.
Hi, Rajesh.
Hi, Ashwin. Yeah. It was a very good presentation. There were from your slides, and my question is how relevant is the overall generally followed international trend forecasting for some of the Indian domestic brands?
That's a wonderful question. That's something that I always question myself, when I was working back in India, because you see amazing trends happening on WGSN and all these websites, and when you actually translate them into real garments, they mean nothing to Indian market. So that's why when in one of my slides I was telling you there could be a million trends going on in the market, but you should only focus on what trends that really relate to you. See, one example I'll tell you. Like before I was quoting this example earlier as well. There is a lot of resistance towards products made in China, which are being sold in India. Unfortunately, you can see on Amazon and all that, and there is a lot of resistance from government as well that Indians should promote other countries' products, but not Chinese products at the moment because of the unfortunate event which is happening. So this is a trend which doesn't make any difference probably to any other country, right, at the moment at least, but that became something which is very, very much important to India as a country. So like this, there are trends which are particular to every country and to every region where you're selling your brand as well. So just because someone somewhere in Paris or in Italy or someone says that, oh, green is going to be the new color, that doesn't mean everyone in the world wants to wear green. And at the beginning of my career, when I was researching onto trends, this is something I thought like, how could something or someone wearing some brand wearing in Paris could really relate to a market which I am working into, right? And so it's not an absolute gold standard written in stone kind of a thing. What trend happens there has to influence it globally. But thankfully, the good news is the world's getting more centralized. Before 10, 15 years ago, it was not the same case. But with social media and the whole world getting much more smaller now, the influences are getting much more quicker. So probably what could be a trend in somewhere in Europe becoming a trend in India, before the gap was probably 2-3 years, but now probably the gap is probably 6 months to 8 months. So some kind of a trends and some things that you see in European market, now you see them in Indian market 6 to 8 months from there. And one of the reasons for that is because a lot of Indian designers, Indian brands, like some of the trends I know, I think Mr. Sanjan,
Gajan, sir, could you just mute yourself, sir? There is a noise coming in. Could you just mute yourself, sir? Yeah.
So yeah, so some of my friends who are working in Indian brands now, they keep coming to UK and Europe for trend shopping and all that. So what I see is they come here, they visit stores in UK and Europe, and they buy a lot of samples from here. Then they take it back to India. They take it back to the drawing board, and when they redesign it, knowingly or unknowingly, some of the trends are being translated from Europe to the Indian market this way, because some of the bigger brands who can afford to go internationally and do the trend shopping internationally, they are sourcing these and they are bringing those trends back to India. And when those big brands are doing in India, there are other smaller brands which are copying those trends in India. So it still takes a product life cycle of 6 months to 9 months for those European trends to translate to India. But I don't believe that an European trend, which is on high, someone like Christian Dior or someone doing next day immediately, that's something you would find in Chennai or Bangalore. So we need to really research on what trends that work for us, I think. Yeah.
Also, I have an opinion, like especially for Indian ethnic wear brands, maybe they should not care about the trends as well sometimes.
Yeah. It has no relevance to global trends. Well, if you are looking at Indian ethnic wear, most of it is relevant to Hindu religion, people of Hindu religion. So when you're looking for a trend for a religion, and then you're looking at another place where the religion doesn't even prevail much, so then you're completely looking at the wrong places. So probably for something like an ethnic wear, you should look for the trends probably from say someone like Sadhguru or someone like that. So probably what he wears or what probably he carries probably might inspire people of that community, or probably the inspiration could come from temples and things like that and what's happening, or probably even events that are happening around, and probably you can take clues from that events and probably pick up trends from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. So any questions from the participants? There is a feedback form which I shared in the chat box. Could you just please click on fill out the feedback, the participants who are participated. Questions from Gajan, sir? Yeah, could you just unmute yourself, sir?
Yeah, actually, I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say about few words with this all three upcoming heroes in the fashion industry. I don't know when Ashwin has passed out from NIFT, but for your information, I was the first professor at NIFT, started in Hotel Samrat in New Delhi, and worked 8 years with the NIFT.
Okay.
And I'm so happy to see Sanjana and Tashi, that I have spent little time with them, teaching and mentoring and all these things. I'm really impressed. My students, they are going to that stage and creating their own name in the industry. I'm so proud of you all. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I have to greet also everyone. I came from Germany, Paris to India to be with the Asian continent, because it's not so much known when you are a fashion designer in Paris. And in Paris, you know very well the trends, but in India, it's the complete liberty. And that is also something what I enjoyed. And I really loved this Tashi Lhamo from Tibet, because I admire the ethnics in India and how you welcome the Tibetans. And I hope we will see you in India, because I'm teaching in India still now with Dhapodkar partly years back, and we are still in contact. Yes, and I don't know how many years I will keep doing this here in India, but I really wish that we come all together and share our experience also as much as we can. And Tashi, you made me travel, and I really wish the Tibetans a happy journey, and Tibetans and Mongolians and Indians should work together. Yeah, that is my message. We all should work more together and be united like a united Europe. Thank you. That was a great evening which I've spent with you.
So,
Thank you, ma'am.
so my message is for all the students. You guys are so lucky to. First thing is congratulations to every student who are working with the NIFT. Because I'm very proud of that. NIFT is one of my, heart and soul. And you are such a proud. You should feel proud that you have like Kumaraguru, one of the great teacher. And of course, I don't know much about the director, Mr. Sood. But I will tell you, I worked with Kumaraguru for 5 years and he's one of the finest teacher there. So you guys should be very lucky to get maximum expertise from him, and not just for him, but from any teacher, doesn't matter. I remember very well when I was with the Pearl, students were asking me, Mai is teaching German method and you are teaching American method and so is teaching UK method. It is confusing. I said, no, it is not confusing. This is opportunity for you to learn from different experts. And then you create your own ideas, own tweak, own, we say, ek lakh ka nuksa, right? So like that. So you need to get everything from every teacher and see best how you can be to utilize their expertise, their knowledge, their skills into your own things. So that is the most important thing in your life. So work very hard. I will tell you, this is not that glamorous. Like you feel that, oh, fashion design is something like glamour. It is not like this. When I started with NIFT, I was the only faculty who was telling student, hey guys, you don't think that once you go out, you will have air-conditioned office and, Ferrari and all these things. It is not going to happen overnight. You need to create your identity, working really, really hard, creative way, smart way, and see how best you can able to do it. So work hard and just create your own name in the industry. That's what I can able to tell you. Thank you very much, and best of luck to everybody.
Mr. D, it's from you I learned that we can call these patterns a slower, because I only had the French terms in my mind when I was teaching. So you learned me also a lot of things. That was great. So, and I just have one question to Ash to England. With how much money you started your business, if I can ask this? Because in Europe, it's so difficult to start your business. It needs such a courage. When I was 45 and I decided with my kids to come to India from Paris, it was to decide, do I open a company or do I start the Electra system to be more professional, computer based? So, but opening a company takes such a courage in Europe. There's so much rules and regulations. And how have you managed it? How have you managed this?
Well, to be frank, courage is just an understatement, really, to start a company in Europe, because there are too many employment laws. There are too many things that you need to handle. It's not just product and clothing. So to start a company is not easy. Well, to start in my experience, when I left India, I was working in India till 2009 at Arvind Mills. When I left India, everyone was telling me, and I resigned my job and in a very good position, and I was moving to Europe, and everyone was telling me, 2009 is an year of recession, global recession. There are no jobs anywhere. And you must be a fool to leave your job and move to UK at this point in time. But then I believed in only one thing. If you have the right amount of knowledge, there will always be that one job for you wherever you go in any part of the world. If you equip yourself with the right amount of skills and knowledge, and then I came to UK in 2009. I started as a basic designer. I was working as a head of design in India for a very big company. From there, I again started my career as a basic graphic designer for a very small company in UK. And then it took me 6 years time again to become a head of design for a company. And after 6 years, I had my citizenship in UK. So I'm not dependent on any company or anything. I was a citizen of England. I'm a citizen of England now. So the first thing, the day I got my citizenship, the first thing I decided to do is I'm going to quit my job, and this is time for me to do something big if I have to do, or otherwise it'll be too late to try anything new. And that was my attitude when I left India. That was my attitude when I left my job in UK. And the fact is, I've started this company in my car garage in the most simplest and the most humble way. I did not go for any fancy offices or anything like that. Started in a simple car garage. Me and my friend together, we came together. And both of us left the job the same day. We stuck to each other. We thought, whatever happens, we're going to make this happen. And our initial investment was just 12,000 pounds or something, or 15,000 pounds or something like that. In euros, that is like 20,000 euros. And we thought, let's give this our 100% of what we have for the next 6 months. Let's review our company after 6 months. Are we a success or not? After 6 months, if we don't see ourselves happening, we'll always have that one job again in the market to jump back. So we just took that risk, started the company in our car garage. And as you can see, after 1 year into the company, straight away in the third month or fourth month, we started getting the orders and everything. Then we started our own brands, and from there we never looked back. And first year we did like the first 6 months or something. First annual turnover, we recorded a loss of £23,000 pounds. And after that, in the next year, it was $1.5 million profit, and then $3 million, and then $5 million. And today we're doing $8 million. And from what it used to be a car garage, now this is our office. This is our showroom now, what you can see. And this is our showroom. And we have same offices one office in Bangladesh. We have an office in China as well now. And we have a small setup in India, but we've expanded globally now to 3 different countries, and now we are exporting to 30 different countries as well. But all that it takes to be where we are is just courage and then knowledge. Yes. And if there is one thing I want to tell students today, college is a great place to actually pick up the initial skills and everything. But once you go to your first job is the greatest place for you to learn everything, because in your first job, nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to ask, how come you don't know this? And first job is a place where you can ask any number of questions, and people will always will be friendly to tell you, because nobody's going to judge you that, oh, you did not learn this in college or anything like that. So my first job was a great opportunity, and just equip yourself with knowledge. And when you have knowledge, anywhere is your playground. That's it.
Bravo for your courage. Bravo.
Thank you.
And never look back. There's no time to reflect.
Never look back, really. Yeah. Because after a point, you either, because if you leave the initial opportunities, after a point you can never try to run it again. So just when the time is right, when you have the gut feeling, just go for it. And it is good to be adventurous, because that one job we can always find it anytime. It's not that when I was leaving my job in India, it was the same situation. My parents and everybody was worried that how come you were leaving a job so secure and then you're going into a wild ground in the middle of a recession. At that time is the same. And when I started my company, is the same. But it's always a difficult challenge to jump from the comfort. But once you jump, then you have to just dive into it and then swim all the way through.
Yeah. And now, as you have such a good success, you have to keep the height of this success. No? That is also
there is more pressure now to keep
it rising.
There is more pressure now to keep it that way.
Exact. Life is hard.
Yeah, but it is good, because once you have done it once you have gone through the cycle once, and once you know the customers, how this business works, after that you can do it 100 times over and over again, and the science is the same, the knowledge is the same, everything's the same.
Exactly. Great. You are a great person. Everyone is a great person. Bravo. I'm very happy
Thank you
to
very
be
much.
with you. I'm not a NIFTian because you don't take teachers out of the Indian domain. So I didn't have the opportunity to teach in that NIFT. But I
No,
know
but
I have a lot of friends from NIFT.
it is true, because even when I was hearing Miss Tashi's story, it was very inspiring. It was a completely different journey what Tashi has done, and it's really inspiring. Like how I would imagine, like what sounds impossible, my story sounds impossible for someone else. Miss Tashi's story sounds impossible to me, from where she has taken a traditional clothing and then she's put it onto the mainframe in China. And we work a lot in China, and we know how difficult working in China is, and the challenges that you face there. So she's made it wonderful there. And the same way, listening to Miss Sanjana, I've heard, I did guest lectures in Pearl Academy, and I know what is the kind of exposure you get exposed to. And in colleges, you don't learn about fabric treatments and what are the special fabrics about, especially when it comes to jackets and all that specialty fabric. And when she was explaining about all the recycled fabrics and the kind of surface treatments that you do and all that, it is not an easy learning. It's a lot of hard work that she has put into it, which I can see clearly. So everybody's story is different, but yeah, it's all, as long as we're all going in the right direction, it's all.
Now
right.
she's more into technical, Sanjana. I can able to understand the way how she gradually how the way she increased her knowledge in technical side.
Yes, it is good. It is good.
Sanjana, you remind me of Paris. I lived there for 23 years as a fashion designer. You remind me of a shop in Paris where they were selling these Himalayan jackets, they called it, for 1,800 euro. And I said, my God, what is there? That is, and I opened this jacket, and the detailings from the eyelets to the strings and the double collar and the inlets. I studied it maybe for an hour, and I could understand what kind of an engineering part is there in these ski jackets, and it's really worth its money. So it's really an investment. To making outerwear for ski or for special sports athletes. It's engineering, and it needs courage, and it needs a sporty mind. And I love this dedication and for the details and for the it starts from fiber. It starts always from fiber, and it finished with the consumer who is using it. And so I imagined this jacket in the Himalaya, in the Mount Everest, and just see there are designers who are doing this. And any price, when I have the money and I want to climb the Mount Everest, I need something special. So I'm happy that you all are so much involved.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Bravo.
Maria. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from other participants? From any questions from students?
The student has to be outgoing to ask questions.
Yeah, Tashi. Yeah, could you just unmute yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to answer to Neela. It's a bit slow. I just remember in year 2010, she asked how we find our place, right? Yeah, in year 2010, we conducted a fashion show on winter collection where we invite our customers not as audience but as a model. There are like from 16 years, the youngest was 16 years, and the oldest was 58, around 58. So there were different body shapes and different age groups. So through this, I think it can attract more of more customers. The main message I want to convey is use what is around you, which is already accessible. That's all. Thank you.
I just have a question, Tashi. Where are you living? In which city?
In Chengdu.
In Chengdu is where?
Chengdu is a...
Or...
Sorry?
Is it more near to India, or is it more because I discovered you today?
West China.
It is in China.
West of China.
West of China, right?
So is it far away from Lhasa? Lhasa for me is an orientation.
It's not really far. It's just 1.5 hour flight.
Flight.
Yeah.
More west. So really Tibetan. Yeah.
It must be very late now in Chengdu.
It's around 12:44.
See,
Okay.
and Mr. Dhapodkar, he can take his breakfast now, well earned. This is the charm, no? That's the charm.
There is Sanjana. There is
to take a break and let us go to their places. Anyway, Sanjana is very close to me. I can visit anytime. And we'll go to Tashu, and then we go to Ash also.
Yes.
We will be so, proud to see you personally. In fact, right now it is like we are seeing personally.
Yes, we
And
have
so happy. You can't believe that.
Yes, NIFT made it possible to all come together. Bravo.
Absolutely.
Bravo, Prof.
I really want to thank Kumaraguru for this such a wonderful occasion. It's like family reunion.
Yes.
Family reunion. So it is like that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So there is a question for Sanjana. Sanjana, could you able to read the chat box? What are the different type of functional garments people are doing it, and what kind of software they use for pattern making for sportswear?
Okay, so the designing garments like functional clothing is a completely different from doing ready-to-wear blouses. So essentially in a ski garment, we need to think about the outer fabric, we need to think about the insulation that's going to go, and then there is a lining. So there are three aspects, and then you need to have knit structures along with the lining so that the person can move, because they are essentially holding the skis like this and they're constantly moving. We also need to think about things like snow guards, which restrict the snow from actually entering from under you and into your arms. So you need to have snow guards, which is essentially attached to the lining. You have different aspects. You have seams. So there's a lot to think about when we do technical clothes. Like in yoga wear, for example, you need to make sure it sticks to the body, it helps you move. So the most important feature with sportswear is important venting, breathability. You need to make sure when the person's moving, in all of these heavy jackets, there are vents. Usually we place them at underarm, which you can open. And the person, if they choose to open it, they can open it. They choose to close it, they can close it. So there's a lot that we need to think about when we design for athletes. Sometimes we even take inputs from the athletes themselves, because as a brand, we sponsored at the Tokyo Olympics as well, where a lot of them wore a lot of crew, the news crew wore our outfits. So whenever we design for athletes, we also call them to our office and they give us inputs. Hey, this is not working. This seam here did not work. It was causing restriction in movement. So we take feedback and we try and put it in our next collection. Now, when it comes to patterns, we generally are working, like I said, we're a small brand and we don't make patterns on CAD yet. Essentially, it's just one collection where it's a highly priced. So our brand has about 10 collections under it, and each collection has a domain and a customer target. So based on the price the customer is going to pay, we have different categories for them. So there is just one collection where it's a highly priced, slightly more luxurious. I would say the clientele is a little different. So for them, we do cater to more expensive factories where they use pad and cam to actually do our patterns. But the rest of them are still doing patterns by hand, and we don't have access to those patterns. So that's where we are right now. It's just few things that smaller companies take. When you are a smaller brand, when your quantities are limited, you need to do things a little differently. So but generally for designing, we still rely on Photoshop and mainly on Illustrator to put all our tech packs together. And that's how we essentially work on our sketches.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjana.
I seem to have another question. What are the performance tests used for ski clothes?
Yeah.
They usually wear a trials. Like I said, number one, most people when they climb up the lifts, so a ski is basically a hill like this or like this, like the different forms. So essentially, you need to go to the peak of the hill and you ski down the hill. So when you go to the peak of the hill, your skis are generally on the back or in the front, and they're essentially on your shoulders. So we need to check for wear and tear of the fabric. They need to be able to move. Also, a lot of ski pants at the bottom, we need to keep extra layers so that it doesn't wear off in one ski trip because it's gliding through the snow with a lot of speed. We need to keep external factors in mind, make sure that the snow doesn't seep in and the person doesn't get cold. We need to ensure that the hoods that we make are helmet compatible because a skier is going to wear helmets and the hoods should be able to fit the helmets in. So, like, there are a lot of aspects, and in terms of performance testings, we usually do wearer trials where we make people wear them. People generally give their feedback. If something snaps loose, the first jacket we're gonna pull every part, every draw cord, every snap out of its place and see is it actually coming off. So we do those things in several settings, and that's the biggest performance test because we don't want a skier going uphill and the zipper pulls off or the zipper snaps open or and they're unable to tighten their hood. So there are certain crucial things we need to look into, and that all happens after wearer tests.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Sir, I think we can wind the session, sir. Director, sir. So if you want to say something about your feedback to conclude the webinar, you can just speak about that, sir.
Yes. I am very much thankful to Sir Gajanan, sir. I am glad to know that you are the first professor of NIFT. Hats off to you and namaskaram. Today is a very prestigious day for Kerala. It is Onam Day, basically. And I am thankful to all the experts, Ashwin, Sanjana and Tashi, and also Maria ma'am and other people who are very conversant in this live session. And still I am thinking that more than 45 participants are there. That means that is showing the keen interest that how successful this webinar is there and how useful and how the knowledge is being deliberated in this particular seminar. So I think so Kumaraguru has done a wonderful job by bringing all the experts, all the persons all together just like a family reunion. And it is a great contribution to for the knowledge and information that could be delivered to the students and to the faculty to go ahead. These are the wonderful things. And Sanjana and Ashwin, I'm really glad that you are showing that willfulness, that willpower, and that basically attitude that how to be successful in your own business. That is going to be the key in coming time. Tashi is also there. She is also doing, but we can't see the experiences. But so many students of Kannur can correlate with Ashwin and Sanjana that what the journey of their life is there and how we can succeed. They can be the true leaders that how we have to succeed in future. Similarly, Professor Dhapodkar has said from where I belong to, basically I am not a fashion expert. I am here on deputation in Kannur and I have seen 3 NIFTs in my lifetime. That is NIFT Kannur in Himachal Pradesh. I was there for 6 months in NIFT Panchkula, that is coming up in Punjab or Haryana. That is going to be of the great interest for Maria ma'am because she is living in Ludhiana nearby northern region. And I hail from Himachal Pradesh, that is from Dharamshala and Manali, Kullu Manali. So Tashi might be thinking, because I just want to ask, you might have the connect between Dharamshala, McLeodganj and Manali for their fashion interest and for Tibetan blend basically. Now it is Kinnor, Lahaul Spiti, Arunachal Pradesh, 7 sister state, and blend of Chinese fashion and of course that Tibetan traditional this thing, the trends. So I'm very much keen, I'm very much there that how these are the things. And when I was a kid, I used to wear the ski jackets that is there in the Mountaineering Institute in Manali, and they are very good. And such a useful things wear for me. So I am always keen ki how these are being made, how those are basically very light but very comfortable in the peak season, the snowy season. So that is also a wonderful thing. And I am basically electronics engineer, management guy. I was there in the engineering college on deputation to this place, to Kannur, from February 2020. So thereafter it is pandemic. So I am not aware about the students and their interest. So what we are going online, and we have established Panchkula too. And I think so the academic head of Panchkula Center is also there in the webinar. She is asking from Sanjana and she is asking from Ashwin. And she can carry it on to Tashi and to Maria ma'am in Ludhiana, Panipat, and that trends, the traditional trends. She is from textile background too. I know it. So this is how this fraternity will come. Yes, there are faculty from Bangalore and other. We don't know. Swami was there in Kannur, and now it's, I think so he is in Bangalore. So in this way, I request Kumaraguru to carry on, or we can make this kind of series for global outreach of these webinars.
Yeah, we'll do in pictures. Sir.
Yeah, he is wonderful. So we can carry on this trend, and I think so he can share our numbers and this thing independently to
this. Sir, this webinar video will be uploaded in NIFT Kannur YouTube, because there are many of them not able to participate in the Google Meet, so they are joined in this thing. So they will be going through the YouTube video in NIFT Kannur website.
Please,
Yes, Sanjana.
I would like to see this again.
Yeah, Sanjana.
I think so. My name is not there, but I am Puneet. My name is Puneet Sood, and I have the doctorate in management. And basically, I'm an electronics engineer from Himachal Pradesh, Kullu and Dharamshala. These are the two places, my native places. Thank you. And with these words,
I love the Himalaya. I love the Himalaya. It's one reason I came to India.
You can visit Dharamshala or Manali.
I already visited a lot of times because I'm a wool specialist, and my second master I have done with the fibers from the Himalaya. So I went to Nepal and to up of Kangra river.
That Dharamshala, and Pashmina and this thing, the wool, merino wool of Kullu, that is Bhutiko, is going with the great things worldwide, basically. Traditional gears and quality of that fabric.
Where I had the sensibility with Tashi is in Kathmandu. I was accumulating all kinds of wool, and there was also this fiber of the yak wool. And then there was less place in my friend's place. I was sitting on the yak wool, and it was getting so hot that I said to the people around, I said, "Stop the heater, it's too hot." And it was the yak wool what was so insulating. It's something I discovered. It is such a you have so many surprises in India. I just love it.
That's great.
Experiences are worthless.
Yes, Sanjana, you have any question?
Yes, I just before everyone disperses, I would actually, not taking too much time, I would actually like to show you what a ski jacket looks like from the inside. If you just give me 1 second, I can grab it.
Yeah,
And
you can.
See, we are
you
so
can bring
excited
it. Yeah,
about what
please.
we are doing. See, in which webinar we can sit 3 hours? No, I have not. It's the first time that I love to sit here for 3 hours. Huh?
It is
this is essentially a ski jacket. This is one of the jackets. It's quilted from the outside, and this is how it looks on the inside. When I say snow cuffs, these are the snow cuffs that keeps the snow at bay. So this is a gripper elastic that essentially wraps around you. I'll just wear it and show you.
Yes.
So ski jackets are never long because you won't be able to move. They are generally a normal length on your body. This is a snow cuff. Any skier would first snap these snow cuffs onto them. And this is the gripper elastic that keeps the snow at bay. So it sticks to your, like it's got a grip here. So it essentially doesn't let the snow in. These are called snow cuffs. This is wrapped around your hand. This is so that the snow doesn't go in through your arms. So you basically need to insulate your body, and over this you wear ski gloves. We don't make ski gloves, we just make clothes. You have inside pockets. This is a goggle wipe because skiers wear goggles and you need to wipe them. So that's essentially placed in the inside pocket. And you always place the phone inside because if you place it on the outside pockets, they are not insulated and your battery will die in the cold. So you generally put your phones into this pocket, which is placed inside the chest pocket. You have an outlet for your earphones. So your earphones basically come out of this outlet here. So you have little strings that help your earphone come out into this place, because there are still traditional people using earphones with earphones, wires, and they don't, not everyone's moved on to AirPods yet. So we need to accommodate every person. So you basically zip up the ski jacket. And this hood that we have generally is a slightly bigger size. It's bigger because it needs to accommodate a ski helmet. So generally a skier would wear a helmet and they would put this on top of it. Most people don't put the fur on. I bought it because I thought it looked nice. I think I'm going to stock fur from next year. And the next important thing is this. It's a key clip. It's to put your keys on because you're skiing, you forget to zip, the keys are going to fall off. So this key clip is to make sure your stuff is clipped onto the jacket. Last thing is, every hem has an adjustment. So you basically have to make sure you give enough adjustment so that a person can tighten the hem if they want to and if they're feeling too cold. You essentially give them a sleeve pocket, you give them 2 hand pockets, and you give them a place to hang their ski tags. So inside a jacket or outside the jacket, you give them this little D-ring that helps them hang their ski tag. So to go up a ski hill, you need a tag and you won't get entry. So you need to hang it up here. So these are just few features that we have. It's very hot today, so get rid of this jacket. So yeah, so this jacket has an outer shell. It's got DWR on it, and it has the insulation. And in between the it has the lining. In between the lining and the outer shell is the insulation. This particular jacket is made with eco-friendly thermal insulation at the moment. So that's about the ski jacket.
Sanjana, what you name it for the jacket?
This ski.
Oh, ski jacket. Okay.
SKI. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And what would be the price in retail for this jacket?
This jacket retail price is $700.
Wow.
Canadian dollars. So I think, yeah,
Ridiculous.
that's Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, Sanjana, to know that.
engineering.
I've always wondered why the hoods on these jackets are so big. We buy some of the jackets in UK also, and we always see that the hood is so big, and when you wear the jacket and walk around, they keep closing your eyes. I always wondered why it's so big, and now it makes sense.
They give you strings to adjust it. They're generally 360-degree adjustable. There'll be one adjustment like this or like this, and then they'll give you one around your face. So you're supposed to kind of adjust it if you're not using.
Usually there are stoppers, but
yes.
I never realized till now why they make it so big. I always thought it was a Russian thing. It was just a statement, but now it makes sense. It is made big enough so to accommodate a helmet inside. So that makes total sense. Something new that I've learned today.
So functional.
And
the glasses are so essential when you're in the ski, when you're in the snow, because the reflection with the white color from the snow, it's really
hurts your eye.
It can infect your eyes. Great.
Nice.
Great.
Thank you so much.
We keep in touch. We keep in touch, and I would love to see some of the videos again. I hope I can.
It will be uploaded in the NIFT Kannur YouTube page. You can watch the stream.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
So
bye.
Thank you, Guru.
Otherwise, I have to call you and
bye,
tell
bye.
me what's possible.
Thank you,
Yes.
Director sir. Thank you for giving me the
Thank you,
opportunity.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
See you again.
Thank you, Gajan sir. Thank you, Ashwin.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sanjana. And thank you,
Thank
Tashi.
you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye.
Good morning.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye, Tashi.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Sanjana. Thank you, Kumaraguru. Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
everyone.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dr. Sir, Director Mr. Sood, I would like to be in touch with you.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, of course, with Sanjana and Ash and Tashi also, and of course Kumaraguru is a good friend of mine, so we are always in touch. So it was really honor actually that to just associate with you. Thank you once
No,
again.
it is an honor for me to be associated with the first professor of NIFT.